Yeah, this is really fantastic. Hi, I'm Don Bodan from SampleLibraryReview.com, and I'm very excited. This is video 2 of our, I guess it's going to be a 4-part series of checking out the brand new palette orchestral libraries by Red Room Audio. And in this video, we're going to be focusing on Palettes Brush Pack 01, the Melodics. I'm going to play through all the library has to offer so you get a chance to hear it. The other videos will cover the Symphonic Sketchpad, the Brush Pack 2, which is the orchestral effects, Brush Pack 3, which is the runs and ARPS tool. So these are contact player instruments, are compatible with both the full and free version of Contact. I'll include links in the description below, take you straight over to Sample Library Review's palette page if you want to check out all the instruments for the palette series. So let's go ahead and jump right in and hear what Palette Brush Pack 01 Melodics has to offer. So this is the second video of the taking a look at palette series. The first video, we checked out the Symphonic Sketchpad, and that is the sections. It comes with some percussion, as well as harp, choir, some trailer tracks, and a piano. This video, we're going to look at the Brush Pack 1, and this is the Melodics. I'm excited about this one. I am excited about this one, I should say, because this one is the legato instruments, but it's also ensembles. So for instance, you've got a bass clarinet and contrabassoon in octaves, as well as trumpets and horns, or cello and basses, brass and low strings together, horns and violins in octaves, things that you would normally use in orchestration, as well as some solo instruments. So let's just go ahead and jump right in and listen to what it sounds like. I've got the violin one loaded up, and I've got the legato articulation. Okay, my keyboard. I've got the close-up. It normally loads up with the Decca, so I'll go ahead and play through that one for you to hear. And like with the other libraries, the close and the hall, I really liked it. But on the violins, they've got 2 close instruments. So let's check out just the 2 close instruments together. That gives it so much more dimension in my perspective. And here it is with the hall and those 2 close. And let's go ahead and listen to the sustains. And you'll see there's also expression as well as the vibrato. So you got a lot of control over dynamics. It goes si niente, which is nice. Let's go ahead and listen to the other articulations here. And from that, you get an idea with the violin octaves, what you're going to get out of it. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one, cello and bass. And again, these are in octaves, same key switching. And that's a Decca mic, and that's nice and full, but I really like these close mics that they've got. And then let's listen to the close mics with the Hall. I really love these close mics. I mentioned in the first video that by having these close mics, it gives us almost the ability to get away with not having a first chair instrument and add that bit of liveliness. And so the moment we're all waiting for, of course, let's hear these staccatos. And I want to check out the spiccatos. It's just really nice, bold sound. I haven't talked about this, but these are very RAM footprint, non-intensive instruments. This one's only 0.5 gigabytes. So I just wanted to mention that. Moving on to the flute and piccolo in octaves. And with sustains. And of course, the staccato. I'm going to go ahead and mute my mic so you can hear. And there's a really nice bite to that. Let's listen to just this close mic with that one. And that's very close. I would even pull that a tiny bit back here. And let's listen to the close two. And that's in a different spot. But these are consistent throughout the whole instrument, which is nice. So to give even more dimension, if we use the close 1 and 2 and the Hall, yeah, we've got more spatial relationship and depth, which I really like. And then there's a RIPS, which I have not used. Let's move on to the oboe and bassoon in octaves. One thing I'll point out too is if you've been watching the low memory footprint, this one is only 180 megabytes with the Legato, and all of these load up. You can remove your articulations from memory and get it down to like 50 megabytes, which is really small, perfect for a laptop composing setup. And again, with that staccatissimo, I just want to check out this close. And I'm going to mute my mic so you can hear it clearly. And, you know, with those close, that being center of the room, you're not getting as much space, but once you would pull those back a little bit with the hall in there, I bet we get a really nice sound. And I might even bring the deck in just to fill it in. Let's hear that. Yeah. You don't want to be taking piano lessons from me. There's also RIPS, which I did not listen to while I played through this one before. Nice. Trumpet and horns. This is where it starts to get really exciting because now we've broken away from just our section, our families. Now we're, well, that's not true. It's still brass. Ignore that, and we'll talk about that. I'll mention that in a minute. So that's got a lot of bite and presence, and I really do like that. But it gets even more with the close. And our motif changed key a little bit there. And let's do that same thing where we use just a little bit of close and a little bit of far and some hall. And again, I'm not using the expression. I mentioned in the first video that I just updated something on my computer. And of course, now my sliders are not doing MIDI learn. It's not allowing it. So I'll probably do something like this, maybe. Gets it up to 0.7, which is 790 megabytes. It's still really small. But that's a really nice lively sound. I'm going to go ahead and mute and hammer away so you can hear these shorts. And let's go ahead and check out the tuba and trombones in octaves. Should be, here we go. So this is a really nice rounded sound, and this is just with the Decca. You'll notice there's no legato in this articulation, and there's only staccato, and it's limited, but I think, as a brass player myself, you don't lip through some of the intervals, so maybe that was why the developer chose to not add the legato here. And of course, what we really want to hear on this is how are our low brass splats going to sound? And I feel like that it's really nice. I think that layered maybe with the horn, or possibly with the trumpet and horn. Probably not. Probably just the horn to give us even more oomph in the low brass. There's a low brass and strings octave, which I'm excited to share because I did enjoy playing with that one. Here we've got horns. And there's so much just bite in these horns. I really love the recording and the way that the sound is. And you've got some of that imperfection. You could hear that. You hear that one guy's lipping up a little slower. I do appreciate that in my sample libraries. The reason being is because it adds a bit of authenticity instead of having everything so exact and precise. And that's just a philosophy. Different developers and different users will feel differently about that. That's 3 difference in a row. Now I can hear right in here, there's that crossfade, and you have to learn where that is so you can get the tone color to change properly as you would want it. You hear where it changes right there? All right, let's go ahead and listen to our and I'm going to mute for the staccatos again. All right, moving along, the trumpet octaves. And this will be a great patch to just pull up when you're ready for your trumpets to have that big, bold lead. Again, that's the Decca, so let's hear the close. It's not quite as pleasing, I don't think. I think we'd really need to play around with this a bit to get a better tone. First, let's just try with the close and the hall. There you go, Danny Elfman to the rescue. Yeah, and I think running this close into your premium reverbs, which is what I did on my mock-up, really gives you the ability to control even more of the way it sounds. But the hall and the close together, it's just a nice combination. Let's try. I'll try not to hammer out my staccato. I've gotten some critique in the past, and I understand. I always appreciate any critique you guys have as I'm trying to, present some of these libraries. So I did get a critique in the past that I hammer out my staccatos, and they just want to hear nice, clean notes so they can really hear what it sounds like. Here's the staccato. All right, moving on to the low brass and the strings. Very exciting. We've got the legato. And what I loved about this sound is the close mics with the hall, because you get a nice perspective and depth. And for these, I'll play a sustain example. Yeah, that is bad songwriting there, guys. All right, I'm going to mute the mic and let you hear these staccatos and staccatissimo. That's what you call low brass. Let's just do those staccatissimos. Let's see if they blast it even more. I love the sound of this patch. I'm just a big fan of this particular combination. I love the bite. I love the spacing and these close mics. Yeah, this is really fantastic. So moving on, horns and violins. Again, mixing up the ensemble. I'm a big fan of these kinds of instruments. And I bet you're going to love to hear it the way that I had set up, because you get that spacing with those close mics and then that hall. Now, I've got 3 mic positions loaded up, all the articulations. I'm still only using about 600 megabytes. Let's listen to the sustains. And let's go ahead, I'll mute the mic, play those staccatos so you can hear how they sound. All right, moving along. Now we're moving into the solo instruments. These are just this is just a solo violin. For this one here, it goes... It goes up here to F5. Is that right? Or B5, sorry. So it doesn't go the full octave to A6 for what if I'm remembering correctly. And I bet we could get even more expressive with this. And let's listen to our and I didn't play our low area. Thing I do like about these solo instruments is you don't really have to think about very much. You just got dynamics, expression. The instrument automatically has the rebow sample, so you hear it. You don't have controls, but it sounds very realistic because of that. And let's hear the staccatos. I'll be at the mic. Okay, the only thing I do want to show is the close mic here. And again, if it is close mic and hall, a pretty nice tone. Let's go to the cello. Cello solo is the instrument I judge most string solo libraries by, just because I use it so often. The only thing I'd say is I'd really want to control my vibrato, because it's just a little too much sometimes. So I'm really glad that's on there. Let's hear that with just the close. It's not fantastic, but to be able to have it all with the same hall samples. And I'd really need to ride those expressions. Solo flute. And again, that vibrato. That's something I will program, especially solo instruments. You gotta be vigilant with your keys, with your MIDI CCs. I do like how you get that overblown sound throughout all the woodwinds with the staccatissimo. It's nice. Moving on to the oboe. Not saying I'm in love with that close mic on these solo instruments, but I do value having the solo instruments all in the same hall, using that close mic just to cut through, act as like a first chair conceptually. And the vibrato there. Okay, moving along. I got two more. We're going to move on to Brush Pack 2 in the next video. Okay, we've got, it goes up to B. I think that's acceptable. Doesn't trumpet go to C5? Because here's C6. So looks like the same And I'll mute my mic. I want you to hear these shorts. I know that that'll be important. And now let's hear the same thing with the close and hall mic, because I've consistently loved the dimension for most of these. So I'll play these shorts again. And let's take a listen to the horn. You hear a little bit of spittle almost in there. It's kind of a neat sound. Again, it's got that crossfade. You can hear it, and you need to be aware. So when you program, you listen for it, and you hear how to make it as expressive as you need it to be. Let's see if this thing impresses with the close and the hall pulled up. You know, there's something about this one that I prefer my Decca. I like this. It's just got a more rounded brassiness to it. So, again, that'll come down to hearing it in context with the other instruments. I'm going to mute my mic and just play the last of the staccato. If I hadn't, in this video, I just wanted to restate that you could stack articulations. So that marcato, which I'm still not loving, that it just holds as long as it does and then it's done. So what I would do is probably stack my sustain and my staccato. And then I can even fake a sforzando. And all kinds of crescendos. And it sounds pretty good. That is Brush Packs number 1. Boy, there's a lot going on in these. Next, we're going to jump into Brush Pack 02. That's the orchestral effects. This is video 2 of the palette review series. It's a lot of stuff. So be sure to check the link in the description below if you want to grab the free claps, stomps, smacks, shouts, and somethings. I forgot what it says. I'll include that link first. Then the next link will take you to Sample Library Reviews page, where we'll have all the information about palette and the other three libraries.